Well, hello there.
Oh, you hit record.
I did. I hit
Hello,
record.
you are sneaky.
Hello, and welcome to Needles at the Ready. I am Kevin.
And I am Ray.
This is our YouTube channel where we talk about knitting, crocheting, yarn dyeing, yarn spinning.
What?
And buying.
Yes, buying is...
all that good stuff. And all the stuff that goes along with that. So, well... And this is episode 120 today.
I thought you were going to start singing. Usually it's me.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
Welcome. Today is Saturday.
To Cabaccang. Saturday, September
28th, 2024. And we are back. We have been away for a month.
What? I know.
So that So it's good to be back.
It's great to be back. Yeah. We were talking about how often we do that, and it's not very often at all.
No.
I think we're very happy and like proud of the fact that we are able to come at you every 2 weeks. But I think this is our fourth time that we've missed a week or a podcast, an episode. So thank you for those who reached out. We are okay. We did mention on the last podcast that we would potentially take last weekend off or the last podcast off. But for those of you who did not see that, apologies, but we're good.
Yeah,
we are.
It's been busy. It's been a busy 4 weeks, I really would say. So we're going to jump into it. It's probably going to be super chatty.
I have nothing to say to you.
Good. I'm done. We have a lot to show.
Yeah.
And
a lot of like administrative things to talk about, a lot of things happening.
Do we have a lot of things happening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're just going to jump in and go over briefly. Let's go over what we've kind of been up to over the past 4 weeks. Okay. So the main reason that we missed the last recording 2 weeks ago is that we had our trunk show at Skane Yarn Shop in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. And it was a fantastic,
amazing
show. Very humbling.
Yeah.
There was a lot of prep that went into it the first 2 weeks. So like those 2 weeks beforehand, after the last episode, we're just super busy with dyeing yarn, scanning it, taking pictures, labeling, doing inventory, all that stuff, getting prepped for it.
Because you brought over 1,000 skeins. You brought 1,038 skeins.
Yeah, something like that. It was super ambitious, and I didn't go with the intention of thinking like, oh, I want to sell 1,000 skeins. It was, I wanted to make sure I had a lot of colors available and a lot of options.
So we wanted to, like, the way that we did inventory, we tried to, because there was so much yarn, we had to like cross-check each other. So we had like we had a handwritten list, spreadsheet, and the Shopify website. And a second spreadsheet that I was using to keep track of what I wanted to dye. So it was very organized, but it took a lot of time and a lot of effort. Yeah. But it was so worth it. So we'll talk about that. We got there on Friday evening, just around like 4 o'clock or 4:30. We stopped by the hotel, checked in, went over to the shop, and set up with Lori and Justine. And I think Meg was still there for a little bit. Meg is wonderful.
Meg's fantastic.
Meg, if you're watching...
I know, I love Meg.
Seriously, that was super close place in my heart.
We can't say enough about the employees. Lori and Justine and just their customer base are all fantastic people. We've become friends with them. I mean, Justine and Lori, feel like I've known them for 1,000 years, and we have such a great time with them. But just their customers, we've become friends with, some of the people that we've met through the shop.
Which is the reason why we love this yarn shop so much. And I know we talk about it a lot in our podcast, and it's really nice to hear from Lori or Justine, people like coming to the shop that have heard about the shop. And like because of the community. That's why we got involved with the podcast to begin with, is just to like develop this community and all that. And to really, once you walk through that door, you feel like you're part of the community. It's like an outward expression of what this knitting community is all about, all the positivity there. And I know we said this before, but like you walk in and there's just a huge table, and that's the focus of the shop. All the yarn is around you, which is beautiful. But it's the people and the customers that we've met over the past. It's only been a year.
I know. We said that.
I
Like
know.
our first trip to Skane was last August. I know Lori knows the exact date. It's something like either the 13th or the 17th.
I don't know why she knows it so well, but
somewhere around there was the first time that we went for our meet and greet. There. So we showed up on Friday, set up. We got to meet Allison and Bethany.
Yes.
Right?
Sisters. They were absolutely lovely.
They were. And I'll show this. So they did some early shopping on Friday evening. And then when we were there on Sunday, Allison came back
I have
in.
like a piece of mohair or something.
And where did I put it? Allison, right? Allison came back in and she had purchased the skein of yarn. She purchased Ocean Jasper on the Achilles DK, which is a 75-25 merino nylon superwash blend. And she brought in a sample for us. Knit out of that yarn
in like 2 days.
So this is Ocean Jasper. This hat is called Classic World War II Watch Cap by Helen Waits. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. This is one of her go-to hats. So it was very sweet because we didn't have any DK weight samples. I love
the crown. I just noticed that. That's cool.
So this is Ocean Jasper, which is on the website.
Can I put it on?
Yeah. So thank you so much for knitting that because that was great because we, like I said, we didn't have any.
Ooh. Yeah, it's great.
It's a fun pattern.
Yeah. And this colorway is so good.
It's actually very similar to another one. I think I noticed it before, but another one that was a one of a kind that I may now actually kind of be able to repeat.
Yeah. I really love that decrease.
I know. I love that decrease. So thank you very much for.
Yeah. That was so sweet.
It was really sweet on Sunday. Yeah. So we did that on Friday, and then we were there for quite a while, like setting up. I want to say I don't know what time we got done, but after we got done, we went to
our favorite place.
We went to Greenwich Bay Oyster Bar, just the four of us, which we don't actually do often. It's very rare. It's the four of us who get to go out to dinner and just chat and catch up. So that was fantastic.
Yeah, Lori's the mayor.
She is.
Of East Greenwich. Right, basically.
So
she's got all the ins.
Yeah, so we did that, and then Saturday the trunk show was from 10 to 4, and Justine was like, "Oh, there's going to be a line," and it was like right before the doors opened, and I was like, "Justine, there's no line, nobody's coming," and sure enough, there was. People were waiting in their car, so it was really, really great. We got to chat with a lot of familiar faces. It was really fun to help people pick out color combos and show the new bases. I brought the 75% BFL, 25% nylon base, which is our Aries base. And for those of you who don't know, all of our bases are named after Greek gods.
Yes.
So Aries base, and we brought the 85-15 superwash, extra fine superwash merino nylon, which is now called the Athena base.
Amazing.
Which was our most popular base at the show.
By far.
We brought...
The minute you touch it, you're like, this has to come home with me. It is the softest yarn.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And, helping people pick color combos. And one thing, too, I thought that we did a lot, and I know some people aren't for this, but showing people how combining different bases is okay.
Yes.
Especially in a shawl. We talked about that a lot. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too. And then, so we were there all day, chatted with people, helped pick out yarn combos and colors. And then
that was by far my favorite part. And I think for me, and I've said this to you personally, but I'll say this in public. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of what you've done and how far you've come. And I think that we were talking prior to that, and I think we all struggle in general with when we put something out of ourselves, you feel like, oh, I could probably do better. That's not quite good enough, or I need to do this. I need to focus on X, Y, Z, and not really live in the moment and appreciate what you're actually doing. So we were talking before, and Kevin had said, I wish that, I paid maybe a little bit more, a little closer attention to the colors that I'm dyeing, that maybe they can go together. I'm not quite sure if a lot of these yarns will go together. Because if you've been following Kevin's journey, he's dyeing things that he wants to dye. You know what I mean? Like when he gets inspiration, or if something is just like, you know, oh, I want to try this. I want to try, you know, practice with this. Or this seems like it would be interesting, as opposed to looking at putting together a collection.
Right.
But it was really cool to see all of the yarns spread out on the table. And when people were coming over to say like, oh, I want to make this shawl, or I want, because you all came with prepared.
Patterns.
You had patterns and everything.
Good for you, because we are not that prepared.
But it was really cool to be able to pick up skeins of yarn and be like, oh, these are going to go great together. And we're going to show you in a little bit, because a couple of things are coming up that I'm sure you're all aware of. Some knit-alongs and make-alongs and things like that. But it was really cool because you have so many yarns that go so well together, that either contrast or complement each other. I'll show you a shawl that I finished that has two of the yarns together.
Part of the reason too that it's hard for us, or for me rather, sometimes to do that, is that we don't have a lot of space in our house. Right. So when the yarn's dyed and it's skeined up, it goes in plastic tubs. And
if somebody wants to donate $1 million to the channel, I would not be opposed to that.
So it was very eye-opening to have everything spread out on a huge table. And that was another great thing about Skein, and we've said this before, is it's a very large shop and there's a lot of space. So they have, I don't know, it's like a 16 to 20 foot table. So that was filled with our yarn. We had another fold-out table filled with yarn, and then at the register they had a round table, and we had a couple displays with all the one-of-a-kinds, or like just
you've
one
probably
skein left.
seen, you know, if you've been following us on Instagram, but that was the small table that Kevin was talking about. We do all of our samples, not all, the variegated samples that we have, or the yarns that we have, we do them in the sock tubes. So those are all samples, although one of them did end up finding a home apparently during that time, which is great. And then we had the one-of-a-kinds and like one-offs up there. I thought it was a really cool display.
Yeah, that was fantastic to have.
And then this is the large table, and how we had all of the yarn spread out there. But seeing it all out, like Kevin was saying, like we don't get a chance to do that at all. If they're in bins or bags, we keep them sealed up, you know? But I think we did a really good job kind of stacking all the yarn together. We kept them together by bases. They were fantastic. Lori and Justine were fantastic to work with, and Meg and the whole team.
And then Saturday night we went out to dinner again. So it was us, Lori and her husband, Kevin, Justine, and her husband, Michael. So we went to Mills Tavern in Providence.
Yo.
Fancy
pants place.
So that was a fantastic evening.
Oh my God. It was so good.
We laughed.
Laughed is an understatement.
Like
I had
crying.
to cover my face with my napkin. I am surprised, honestly, that we didn't get kicked out of this place. And then Justine, whoever made the smart decision of putting Justine across from me, we're at a round table, was a big mistake. I will never sit across from Justine ever again. Because I could not look at her. I think I understand her a lot. Like I can anticipate something that's going through her mind. Like all I have to do is I just made eye contact with her, and I could tell what she was thinking. She had some snarky comment on the tip of her tongue or whatever, and I lost it. I couldn't make eye contact with her.
It was fun.
It was so much fun.
Just hands down, like a great evening.
Yeah. It was a
dinner
long
was
time.
fantastic. Dinner. We were there for like 3.5 hours or something like that for dinner. But it was a fantastic meal. Mm-hmm. We both had steaks, and the sides were a la carte.
The sides were fantastic.
The dessert was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Drinks were great.
Yeah.
And then
I had wine with my steak. I wanted to be like fancy.
You did. And then what else? And then Sunday we went back to the shop. Mm-hmm. Oh, we went to breakfast at Dante's because we are now spoiled.
We are spoiled.
And that's a Sunday tradition now. Like we have to go to Dante's for breakfast on Sundays.
We have to go to Greenwich Bay Oyster Bar
and
as well.
Dante's. Like
Dante's.
that happens. That has to happen every time that we go and stay over. So we did that, and then
Dante's, for those of you who don't know, Rhode Island has great food.
They do,
like great food, and there's so many other restaurants around that we haven't tried yet, but they look really cool and really nice, especially in that area. Dante's is it's like a New Orleans take on like traditional kind of foods and stuff. So I have, which I get every time, and I want to branch out, but I don't because it's so good. I get the biscuits and sausage gravy with fried chicken. It's so good. They have like New Orleans style beignets and
Yeah, it's just
great place.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. And then we had the final day of the trunk show from 12 to 4.
Yep.
And then afterwards we hung out with Lori and and breakfast. Angie and Jen joined us,
Yes,
so that was really great to
nice.
spend time with them. And what's her name? Annie and Lori.
Oh yeah,
after,
Annie.
on
Yeah, Annie came in right after we were done.
Sunday, and then we came home. We got home quite late on Sunday evening, and we were going to attempt to podcast that following Monday, but we were exhausted. So we just said, you know what, let's just wait the 2 weeks. And so let's see. So what else? So that was that.
Yeah, that was the trunk show. It was really
and then
amazing.
That week after, we just kind of did a little staycation thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you getting prepped for the new job.
Yep.
You went fishing with your mother.
I did. Me and my mom used to go fishing every day. And we were trying to figure out like how long ago that was. We were and we fish off of a pier. So laws have changed in Connecticut. You did not, back when we were able to go fishing from the shore in saltwater, you didn't need a fishing license. So you do now. So we got our fishing licenses in the morning. They made it very easy. You do it right online. Anyway, so we get down to the pier. You know, we're like fumbling a little bit trying to figure out how to get our poles and reels all back to like good condition and like till we get to a flow. Because I'll tell you, my mom is quite the fisher person. Anyway, so while we were down there, one of the gentlemen who used to fish with us almost daily came to the dock. I don't know if they saw a post on Facebook or if they were just in the area. He rode his motorcycle down and came onto the dock. It was very interesting, like, to see him again. And then he said to me, "Do you still have that knife I gave to you when you were 18?" I'm like, when I was 18? So that was 25 years ago. So like my mom and I were, it was really cool to, to kind of like have that memory again and to think like, wow, we were down here 25 years ago.
You guys still fished after that though, because
Not
when
often.
we met, you and your mom would go down and go fishing.
Really?
Yeah. And we met when you were 20.
So 2
it's-
years later. So still 20 to 25
yeah.
years ago was a long freaking time. But it was really cool. My mom caught a fish. She caught a striped bass. It was too small to keep, but it was still pretty significant. I posted it on Instagram. It was a really nice time. Then the road started getting flooded because we've been having a lot of coastal flood advisories and things. So we noticed that the road was now underwater. So we had to kind of skedaddle. But anywho, that's my day. It's going to be a chatty episode.
It is.
Yeah, I feel like I want to say everything.
I know, because I was just thinking there was something else we were going to say that happened before all of that, but I don't.
We actually went to my mom's.
Yeah, we went to
for
your
a
mom's
nice Sunday dinner.
Sunday dinner.
Yeah, Sunday brunch.
And then we had the Thursday before we went to Skane, we had your going away party at Dockside Brewing in Milford.
My last day at my previous job was the 13th, Friday the 13th, September 13th.
The day we went to Skane.
The day we went to Skane, right. So my staff threw me a going away party at a brewery, and it was nice. I don't think I cried that day.
No.
But I definitely cried the next day when I was leaving work. I wanted to take a half day, plus we were going up to Rhode Island. So it was probably about 11:30 or so, and I was getting ready to go, and I wanted to sneak out the back door, of course, because I don't do well with goodbyes. And a couple of my friends wouldn't let me go out the back door. They said, no, you have to at least walk through the front door and just, do your waves or whatever. So I turn the corner, and when I get to the exit in the nurse's station, pretty much the entire hospital was all lined up against on the hallways, and they started clapping for me, and that's when I just completely lost it. It was the sweetest thing. You know, I was very, very humbled by that, and I couldn't, you know, they were expecting me to say a speech, and I said I can't say anything. I just thank you, and I put my head down. I gave my friend Nick a hug on the way out, and then and that was it. Got in my car and I drove away. But it was really sweet.
And then the last big thing was that you started your new job this week.
I did. Started my job this week. I think I'm going to be very, very happy. I like the culture. It was just this week has just been the like introduction stuff. So a lot of the just, you know, here's what to expect from the health system and all of that. And then, which, you know, I didn't know how I felt in the beginning, but they put me through the full like new nurse orientation. Which, you know, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I know how to do all this stuff already. Like, but this is, you know, I get it. But it was really a good experience. I get to see like what everybody's going through, the nurses are going through when they're going through orientation. And I have to say that they put together a great orientation. So I had to take a math test again. You know, I haven't done that since like nursing school or when I got the original job. As a bedside nurse. So I had to take like dosage calculations and med administration and side effects and all those things. So that was interesting. But I passed. I got 100.
Good job.
Thanks. So yeah, so that's that. That's pretty much that.
All
Next
right.
week is a little bit more of that orientation stuff.
So I guess we'll jump into some admin stuff. Or I'll talk about what I'm wearing.
Okay.
The weather's, it's not cold today, but there's a little...
Yeah, we're transitioning.
Yeah. So I grabbed this while we were at skiing. We left it there as a sample. This is my bumpy cardigan by Maxim Cyr. It is knit in Le Garçon British DK. This is the color Louis Shade. Yeah. And then my bumps are Spin Cycle, Dyed in the Wool, Stay Ready. So, and Annie is copying me. Exactly.
Sorry, Annie, we had to take your sweater away from you.
I know.
She was using it as a...
Well, she said she could always send me a message if she has any questions. Yeah. But, so that's what I'm wearing. And then admin-y stuff. We still have our Let's Hear It for the Boys Mal going on. That ends on the 30th. And we apologize. We thought it ended on like the first day of fall and we closed it, but I reopened the threads. So they're still open.
Yes.
So if you have anything to get...
Any last minute things you want to get in there?
Yes, do that.
For sure.
And then
and use the hashtag on Instagram as well. There's about 150 posts, I think, on Instagram.
And that's NATR Boys 24?
Yeah, NATR Boys 2024.
Okay, 2024.
Yeah. So we're pulling prizes from there too. So even if you post on Ravelry, definitely share your post on Instagram as well. And so we get a lot of questions for people who may not be aware for Instagram, like on how to do hashtags and things like that. All you need to do is just make a regular post, like you're going to post, you know, a picture, and in the description part, you just put the hashtag sign, the pound sign, and NATR Boys 2024.
How many people do you know? Kids don't know that as a pound sign. That's so sad.
That is sad.
So we have that going on.
It's the hashtag button.
And and then what else? So we have a new one that started while we were at skiing. Yes. We have started a new knit along. It is called #Badass Brioche.
Mal.
No, it's a cow.
I know, but the hashtag is #Badass Brioche Mal.
Okay.
On Instagram.
On Instagram. So we are hosting that along with Skane. So Lori and Justine. Mm-hmm. Is it Skane or are Skane Scoop hosting it? Probably Skane. Yarn shop.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So this is a pattern.
Skane Scoop Shop. Skane Shop Scoop.
Pull it up.
I
don't have it actually.
Oh, I do. So I don't have, apologize, I don't have my
iPad with you.
iPad. Oh my gosh, guys, look at how fun this picture is. Let me see if I can find it. This is me and Lori. She's a nut.
Let's talk
about
this.
Her husband, Kevin, is
hysterical. I don't know how Lori survived. Lori got back from a 2-week trip I think she flew in from Croatia, if I'm not mistaken. She got in at 8 o'clock on Thursday, and she was at the shop on Friday. Don't know. God bless her.
And seemed like she had energy. Okay, so the pattern that we chose, because I'm a lemming, so I had to follow. Lori started saying she was looking for some yarn of Kevin's to do brioche, and then I was like, oh, I want to do some brioche, and Justine's like, well, I want to do some brioche, and then we're like, okay, let's all do brioche. So that's how it started. So we chose All About That Brioche by Lisa Haynes. Sorry. It's a really simple 2-skein, 2-color shawl. There's a garter and brioche. For those of you who are new to brioche or have never done brioche before, this pattern is an excellent introduction to brioche. There's a lot of video tutorials. And then also I mentioned this somebody had commented on Justine's post if this is acceptable for like a new person. And looking in the pattern and on the description on Ravelry, the designer actually said that some of her test knitters were also very new to brioche and they had no problem, doing it. So plenty of help out there, plenty of tutorials. You can reach out to Kevin and myself or Justine and Lori if you have questions. But just want to keep it simple. The end date is December 31st. So we've got a very long time to be able to do this. And I'm just really excited to do some brioche.
Yeah, and then I will show
Yeah.
some yarn later on for some possible combos. You don't obviously have to use needles at the ready yarn,
of course not.
But we pulled some just to, again, even show some new colors that have come out
Yeah.
in the meantime, or some that kind of have been refreshed.
Speaking of our yarn, we left some yarn at Skein.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Which was really, really awesome to be able to do that. So they have some colors there that we don't necessarily have left in our shop. So if you're interested, check out their website or give them a call and see what they have if we don't have it in our shop, or just go visit in person and squish it.
So let's jump into FOs. Right? Is that everything?
I think that's everything.
I think that is.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the brioche. We'll remind everybody again about the brioche knit along when we start showing the yarn towards the end of the podcast.
All right, so we'll talk about some FOs. I have 3.
Wow. I have 4, guys.
Okay, so you start.
Okay. The first one you have seen. I was working on this already.
Do you want to get your iPad? Would that be easier for you?
It probably will. I'll get it in a moment. Maybe when you start talking. Okay. Oh, I need to actually finish this row that I'm working on too. Remember I said I wanted to finish this row? It's okay. This is the Eno hat by Jared Flood. And it's a very easy cabled hat. It's got a cinched top. Very easy to wear. So this is the Eno by Jared Flood. I apologize. I don't have the ball bands anymore. I don't know where it went to. Usually I'm really good at keeping them. But I used the core fingering by Upland Fiber Co. Our friend Michael, who, if you remember, just started his company. He's already doing a million things.
I know. He's done a bunch of shows.
Doing another trunk show.
This weekend.
Yeah.
In New Jersey.
Yeah. Jeez. So he was gracious enough to send us a skein just to kind of feel and touch. So I wanted to use it and see what it was like. This is, his core fingering. The colorway is Flock. I'll show you the finished object and it's absolutely amazing. It's a 3-ply semi-worsted spun yarn. It's a 50-50 blend of American Cormo and American Corriedale fleece. Farm sourced, milled, and dyed between New York and Pennsylvania. So it is probably some of the softest yarn that I feel like I've ever felt. So here's my hats. It did a great job. It's got amazing stitch definition. The yarn, the cables are definitely easy to see. Well, we're getting some shadowing there, like whatever.
Well, don't forget, I have the light turned down a little bit on the iPad.
So. Okay.
It's a beautiful pattern too. I've knit 2 and I'm going to start a third one.
Yeah. So I love the brim. It's very neat. And it's knit on, I use the recommended needles. It's knit on a US 1. And then I think this is a 3 is the body of the hat. But it's very tight, and you do a cable cast on. But you do it in a way that was a little bit different for me. It creates this really beautiful edge. It reminds me of like a tubular cast on.
Would you say it's easier than a tubular, or
It took me a little bit more time, probably because I wasn't used to it. I've never done it before. Yeah, it took me, but you know what's really great is that you didn't need to worry about how long your tail was.
This is the one where you go in between the stitches, pull it up. Yeah, I've done that, and I like that cast on quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really good. The only thing is because it was so on such small needles, that's why I just wanted to take my time. The first time I did it, I must have missed a purl, like I went the wrong way. So everything was off, and you can absolutely tell. So like my recommendation, it's so worth it because I think it's absolutely beautiful. My recommendation would be just to take your time, somewhere where you're quiet, because you are casting on a whole bunch of stitches. I think it's something like 140-ish stitches. So it's a lot. So you definitely want to make sure that you're taking your time doing it, and then, things are not getting all twisted when you're coming back around. Jared Flood is, like all of their patterns, they're so detailed, and they have step-by-step instructions. Highly recommend. You can do the brim a little bit longer if you wanted something folded. I opted for, and there's 2 different versions. So I opted for like a slouchier version.
I think I'm going to go with the short version next time.
I love the slouch.
Well, you like a slouchy hat. You know what? I feel like you have the hat that Lucy wore when she was at the bakery. Lucille Ball. And I love Lucy.
Stop. You're so stupid. So if, you can definitely do shorter if you wanted to. I did one more, I think it's one or 2 more repeats to get the longer version. But this is what, you can certainly fold up the brim if you wanted to.
But you know what though?
I prefer
not folded up because of the cinch at the top.
I like
it looks better worn like that than it looks better as a beanie than a hat.
Yeah. So the cinch, people get nervous with a cinched hat. I like it.
I do too.
It's really cool.
I will say, you had a very different experience because you used the 3-ply yarn.
Yes.
I did it the 2 times I've knit it. I've knit it using Brooklyn Tweed Loft.
Oh,
no, Loft, because Loft is their 2-ply woolen spun. So it's very airy and very easy to break.
Yeah.
So even in the pattern, it recommends using a different yarn to do that. To cinch it, because you could break the yarn.
The instructions are actually written that way.
Yes. The instructions say to use a different yarn. So depending on the yarn that you use, if you were to use Brooklyn Tweed, Loft, I would definitely recommend using a separate yarn for it. If you were to use Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, I think you would be okay, because I think that's a 3 or 4-ply, and it's worsted spun. So it won't break as easily.
Yeah. I agree. This yarn was plenty strong enough for me to be able to do that, to cinch it all together. I didn't have any concerns about it breaking. I have 25 grams left over of 100 gram skein, so you use up a good amount of it. I just think that I am so incredibly impressed with this yarn. It is like next to the skin soft.
It is really beautiful.
Yeah. So my plan is to get a sweater's quantity of the.
You're going blue.
I'm going that blue glacier.
I think I was going to do.
I think it's glacier.
I think I was going to do green. Can you pull up the green for me? I don't remember. There's like a dark green. I don't know. I have to pick, but we should do that soonish.
Yeah. This is the glacier.
Yeah, glacier blue, stunning.
Yeah, glacier. Oh, it's so good.
It's a stunning blue.
Yeah. So I need a sweater's quantity of that.
Oh, or was I going to do gray? I think I was going to do gray to do a classic gray sweater because I don't have any.
Well, this is a great neutral color. Again,
no, I
this
wanted
color
dark. I wanted a dark color.
Oh, okay. This color again is flock. It's their like natural color. I'm so impressed, Michael. Great job curating all of this. It's fantastic. I'm very happy with this.
Very nice.
So that's number 1.
All right. So why don't you go get your iPad?
Okay.
So I've been on a journey the past 2 weeks, maybe. 2 weeks. So I've been very inspired by our friend Michael at Piece for Piece Crafting, who, I don't know, maybe sometime over the past year and a half to 2 years, picked up spinning. And also from Kirsty, right? Kirsty. Is it Kirsty or Kirsten? Hold on, please. I always forget. Oh, so I think it's Kirsty, who from the Wool and Wishes podcast. I really enjoy watching them. I was actually watching yesterday. Wool and Wishes. Yeah, Kirsty. Okay.
I wanted to switch out my cases.
Watching Kirsty and Tracy over at Wool and Wishes.
I love them.
I know. I
wish
really
they were closer.
do.
I feel like we would be best friends.
So I actually went back. I started watching from episode 1 recently because I love doing that. That's how I really got into podcasts. I remember doing that with Fiber Hustle, Knitting Posse, Grocery Girls. I don't even know who else. Probably Sweet Tea No Shade. Like a bunch of people. I love going back and watching the progression of a channel grow. And it shows people's progression in their craft. But in an episode of theirs, it wasn't the last one, because the last one they talked about going to a fiber event. Wool and Wishes podcast. So it was in episode 27. Kirsty showed some spinning that she had completed, and Tracy's just getting into spinning as well. But I saw this spin of hers and I was super inspired. Mm-hmm. And if you guys remember, back in November, we went to the New England Fiber Festival in Massachusetts, and I bought the electric wheel 6.0.
Eel, isn't it?
Electric eel wheel, EEW 6.0. And I'd done a little bit of spinning just with some undyed fiber. But between Kirsty and between Michael, I was like, you know what? I just need to do this. I need to bring the wheel downstairs, have it on my table. I have a table from IKEA that is kind of like not a coffee table, like
the folding
TV
table,
tray.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like a TV tray table. So I leave it on there and I spin on the couch. So I decided to spin some fiber that I got from Rhinebeck 2 years ago. Yes, 2 years ago. So this was from Into the World. It was the colorway Selene. It was a 4-ounce braid of 70% superwash blueface Leicester and 30% nylon. So here was my first spin. This was a little bit difficult to spin, I think, because of the nylon and it being superwash. So it is a 2-ply. It's like a worsted Aran weight. I got
140 yards or something like that, didn't you?
154, because wasn't it 77? Right? Wasn't it 77
yeah,
wraps?
Maybe.
So 154 yards. You can see it's super, I'm pleased with it, but for my first full on spin.
For your first spin? Are you kidding me?
So there's definitely some areas that are here you can see that's not really spun. It's very uneven. You can see the nylon's interesting because it gives a sparkly effect to it. There's definitely some areas here with some extra twist or not enough twist, but I did it, and I'll just use this to make a hat, I guess.
But I do love the colors in it. There's
I
some
did
blues and grays and blacks and reds. But it was really, really fun. It's been very relaxing, very meditative to do. It is a slow process, which is nice. And once I get into a rhythm, it's really, really cool. And I'm getting to the point where I can watch television while I'm spinning, like not literally watch.
Something that you've seen before, you can listen.
Right, I can listen, I can look up. That's one of the reasons I went back and started Woolen Wishes from the beginning, because I was like, okay, I can listen to them and then I can look up when they're showing, a project or something like that. And it was really cute too. In that first episode, they mentioned us. They had started knitting. Tracy started knitting a sockhead slouch. I want to say...
I haven't knit one of those in a while.
For her husband, because you had showed it. It was something like that. You had showed it, and he was like, oh, I would like a sockhead slouch. And she knit her husband a sockhead slouch. So that's my first finished object.
Me again?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so I have another hat. Actually, another Brooklyn tweed pattern, interestingly enough. Needed something to... Excuse me. Oh, I brought my iPad up. Duh. Needed something to knit while we were at our trunk show. And Mari over at the Colorado Knitter podcast, who we have become fast friends with, I think, as well. I hope she feels the same. She gave Kevin and I these really beautiful bags. They're like chalk bags almost, that you would take like mountain climbing.
Well, similar to the construction.
Similar to the construction. They're similar.
But I don't know that you would use that as a chalk bag.
No, I wouldn't for sure. So the concept is that you can clip this to your belt and you can walk around and knit. It's large enough for one skein of yarn. So I ended up, usually I would bring socks with me, but we, like Kevin said, didn't have any DK samples of his yarn. So he came up with a brand new colorway that we launched.
No, that's not new.
Silver Moonlight?
Yeah, that's not new. It's been for a while.
I haven't seen it in a while, maybe. It was new to me. Anyway, so I wanted to do a DK weight hat. I thought that would be really cool and something simple I can knit while I'm walking around and talking to everybody. So I chose... oh, look at everything's like updating here.
You know, while we're thinking about that, I just saw it like on your iPad. We hope if you live in the area that's been affected by the hurricane down south, and I saw that there were tornadoes. We hope you are staying safe and that you're doing well, because I've seen some people that we follow on Instagram have either lost power. I saw somebody lost their house is not habitable any longer. Like, so
some of the videos have been really
devastating.
Sad. Yeah, for sure. So this is the Hatch Hat by Emily Green. It is a Brooklyn tweed pattern. You can knit this... Huh?
I love this pattern. It's my favorite. Hands down, my favorite pattern for a hat.
So you can do a beanie version, or you can do they call this a...
Watch cap
version, which is basically just an extended brim. And it's for one skein of DK weight yarn. It's just multiple sections of different types of ribbing. The decreases are actually really clever, how they do the decreases. And so, yeah, I was knitting on it. I'm using, like I said, it is, the yarn is called Silver Moonlight. It is on our Achilles DK base, which is a 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 25% nylon, sorry. It's in this really, really pretty silvery gray. It's not coming across.
No, it is. That's kind of, yeah, I would say so.
And then here is the hat. So I was able to finish this. I actually finished this on the drive home from Skane. So I was able to do that in the weekend. Look at the decrease, like the crown. Isn't that cool?
Did you not drive that all?
No, you did. And I asked you. And you
That's
said no.
rude.
I asked you. I always drive. So this is the hat. It's a simple.
It is
hat, but like
I don't know why.
It just has this like really cool. Like the way that the ribbing works together is like super cool. So it's again very simple. I was able to have the hat and the yarn in this while I was walking around. While I was walking around knitting.
And it's what is it knit on? I don't know.
Yeah. So it is knit on a US 3. And so I did it in the round, and then when I got to the top, I ended up doing DPN, so I didn't finish this on my way home. I finished it the day that we got back,
right.
I think.
Yes.
Because I ended up just using DPNs to close up the top. I just, it's a great pattern, and the yarn is so good. Silver Moonlight is a perfect color name for this.
So I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Coming up with colorway names is very difficult.
Well, you do a good job.
Well, I also use AI now to help come up with colorway names. So it's really fun to I use Google Gemini, and I put in, when I take a picture of a yarn, I can upload it to a separate website, and it actually gives me the actual name of the colors in it that are found in it based on this website. So, it doesn't just say red, it'll say whatever, like raspberry red or whatever the case. So, and then I throw in the colorway names or those names into Google Gemini and ask it to generate yarn colorway names. And then it can list 12 to 15. And if I don't like any, then I just ask for it again. And those are just some ones that don't hit me. Like I had one the other day that I dyed a new one. And I saw it in the pot as I was dyeing. I was like, okay, I know exactly what this colorway name is going to be. So just those difficult ones. Yeah. And I think that one I used AI to help me name. But it's fun to kind of mess around with that because it comes up with some really wacky stuff sometimes.
Totally. But then you can take some of that suggestions and kind of tweak it to make it your own too, which is good. So yeah, not much more to say about that. It was just, it's an easy knit. One thing that I would, now we're going to use this for a sample, but one thing that I might change if I were to do it again is I might go down half a needle size or a needle size for the brim.
I would say I would only do that if you're using a superwash yarn. I've only knit it out of Arbor and I've never had an issue. Like I said, it's fantastic. I think it might be because it is superwash that it may stretch a little bit more. But
I also just realized that I lied to you all. So this pattern, the cast on, is a cabled cast on in this pattern.
The other one's tubular.
The other one is in fact a tubular cast on, which is why it looked like a tubular cast on to me. So the Eno hat correction is a tubular cast on, which I find very easy and intuitive, and it's very stretchy and very clean. The cable cast on I also find easy, but you do have to take your time with it, and it still kind of has a tubular quality to it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a significant, I think, a difference there.
The only thing I can never figure out with the cable cast on is how to start it. Not start it, but you can do starting with a knit stitch or a purl stitch. Because you're casting on the way that it ends, I feel like your stitches kind of flip.
So they have suggestions for it here. Their patterns are great. Here, I can show you this.
I should watch that.
They have a bunch of special techniques, listed in the pattern. And this one is all about that cast on. And there's, you can look up videos or whatever, but it's the entire thing, not just applicable to the hat. It does have instructions if your first stitch needs to be a purl, this is how you do it. If your first stitch needs to be a knit, this is how you do it. So
thank you, because I need to refer to that, because I do go sometimes and want to use a cable cast on for a baby sweater instead of doing tubular for the collar and
or the bottom of it, depending on if I'm never doing a baby sweater bottom up. So yeah, I've attempted to do it and I was like, this just doesn't feel right, and I've gotten rid of it.
Yeah.
So, all right, anything else on that?
I think that's all I have to say about that. That was really, it's a great pattern.
Okay.
So yeah, I would do more. But again, I think I would, depending on the yarn, that's a good point. I would probably go up a needle size.
Down, you mean?
Down a needle size, yeah.
With the superwash on.
Yeah.
Do you think for the entire hat or just for
just for the
initial section?
The cast on and then this initial
Ribbing
1x1
section.
ribbing section.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to make it feel a little bit snugger against my head.
All right. So my next one will be a knitting FO. Prior to the trunk show, we didn't have any samples of the 75-25 BFL nylon blend. So I decided to go through my library, see if I had any fingering weight quick knits that I could do. And I had this. This is Paris in Berlin by Joji Locatelli. I've never made it, but I'm sure for like a birthday sale, I picked it up. And it is a one skein. Actually, in here it says, yeah, one skein. So I picked up a skein of Needles at the Ready 75-25 in the colorway Wedding Mints.
This is going to be a very Needles at the Ready heavy episode.
It is. And this is the
It's so good.
And the reason I wanted to do this too is, number one, we didn't have a sample, but I also wanted people to feel the difference of the yarn in the skein form and the yarn knit up, because it feels very different. BFL just naturally has a more rustic feel to it because it is a higher micron count than merino, but it's really, really soft next to your skin.
Soft.
So this is...
And the stitch definition is like off the
Like
charts.
it was a fun knit.
Yeah.
I knit this up in, I think, 2, maybe 3 days. Super easy pattern to remember. I think it ends up being a 4-row repeat or 8-row repeat. Very intuitive once you get into the flow of it.
Yeah.
So you start here with this section.
Oh, it's so good. Hold it up closer. That's like...
So you start up here with this section. These are just, I think it would, if I remember, just knits and purls.
Yeah.
And then this here, I've never done this stitch. This was really, really fun to do.
You did a great job.
And then you have your increases here to make this...
The spine.
Yeah, and then you have a little bit of a spine in the back as well. But I don't have the leftover here. I probably have a good maybe 20 grams left.
Did you say what colorway that was?
Yeah, it's Wedding Mints. Okay. So I think this is a great one skein shawl pattern or cowl pattern.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see it, and maybe I'll do another one as a...
It would be great under like a coat and stuff.
Yeah, Yeah. I would love to see this in a variegated, or like a speckly, just to see kind of what it looks like. I think it's a good gift knit.
Yeah, I do too.
For people, especially people, you don't want to give them a shawl, because shawls can be tricky to wear. I think if you're not a knitter, it can be tricky if you don't know how to style it
or you don't wear it,
throw it on. Mm-hmm. But this is really, really great. I love this. So this is a new sample of ours, and I'm sure I will make more of these because I thought it was a really, really great pattern. So this is Paris and Berlin, and this is knit on a US 6 or a 4mm needle. I knit it in the round.
Don't you start it flat?
Yes, you do start flat, and then you join in the round. So this section here with the little like waves or blips is knit flat, and then you join in the round to do the whatever this stitch is. But this, I had so much fun doing this.
It came out so good.
And it's funny, I now know, I was trying to think what we've, preparing what we've watched. I now know from looking at this, remember a show that we watched because I knit it during the entire show.
Isn't it funny how like sometimes like your projects can, you know, bring those memories forward?
I know that there's a Pure Joy that I have downstairs.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if I have it downstairs. It may have been a gift for the one that my mom wanted me to make for
her
physical therapist. Mm-hmm. I knit that, a good chunk of it, when you and I we went back and watched all the Police Academy movies.
How funny.
Yeah. So this is, again, Paris and Berlin by Joji Locatelli. Highly recommend if you haven't knit that.
Sorry, I just needed to... I was in the middle of a row, so... I didn't want to... It's going to make this very difficult to show otherwise. All right, my next... You know what? I'm going... Oh, no, it's in the bedroom.
What?
My sweater.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to show... Well, here I am talking to myself.
I know, you're talking as you're walking away. Story of my life.
Okay. So I'm going to show this guy now. I'm going to preface this by saying thank you to everybody who reached out with some suggestions about... this is the Sean's Gambier that I'm going to talk about next. And so my sleeves ended up being a lot longer. So a lot of you had given some suggestions on what to do, you know, from knitting them, taking them out all together, knitting them again, to, you know, cutting them, Kitchenering them together, cutting out the sections, even doing some like steeking, or felting, and cutting out, sewing things together and cutting out some extra fabric. Lots and lots of great suggestions. So I did finish the cardigan, and once I finished it, I realized that, and I'll show you, I realized that it wasn't necessarily the sleeves that were too long. My gauge ended up changing in the pattern from when, and I think I might have talked about this in the last podcast, from when I originally did my gauge swatch. I did it in the round, and then I steeked it because that was going to be my intention. So I did a felted steek, but knitting it flat, purling, and, you know, when you're knitting color work flat, you're coming back around and you're purling. My gauge changed and opened up a little bit more. So I had I think the pattern calls for, what 11? Is it, 10 or 11 stitches per 4 inches? Let me pull up. So for those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, if you've not been following, or if you're new, welcome. We didn't say that before. We are happy to have you if you're a returning viewer. Thank you so much for joining us again, as always. This is the Sean's Gambier. It is by Lindsay Inouye.
Oh, good at you.
Standardknits.com. I tried. It's probably wrong. It is an oversized, bulky weight jacket, knitted jacket. So the gauge is using US 11s, 11 and a half stitches and 15 rows per 4 inches. I did get gauge when like I said, when I did it in the round. However, measuring my gauge now on this sweater, I did get row gauge, surprisingly enough. I got like 15 rows per 4 inches, but I only got 10 stitches per inch.
I thought it was 10 and a half.
I thought it was 10 to 10 and a half stitches per inch. So I was, or per 4 inches. So I was about a stitch shy, which may not sound like a lot, but on a sweater, a garment, that's significant. Very significant. So I'll put it on and I'll show you. I love it. I think it looks brilliant. And I'm going to be very, very happy with it. I like it being oversized. But with the sleeves, I'll show you when I put it on. Basically, my armpits are down a little bit more because I have so much more fabric. Yeah. So it kind of like hangs, and that's causing the sleeves to kind of come down pretty far.
Your raglan,
my raglan,
further down than it should be.
The yoke.
So
yeah,
so it's not the sleeves. Like the sleeves are big. They're meant to be larger. We've seen other ones because it's a jacket, and you're gonna potentially wear a shirt or a sweater or something underneath it. But yeah, it's the raglan goes down further than anticipated, I guess.
Yeah. So here, it's bulky. But isn't that pretty?
It is. It came out.
I
really
love
nicely.
these colors. So this is, I'm using
Lamb's Pride.
Lamb's Pride. Thanks. It's like 70% wool, 30% mohair, something like that. It's a wool and mohair blend.
Yeah.
I don't know where.
I think it's actually 85-15.
Oh, all right. We'll have Lamb's Pride linked down below. It's from if you're not going to see Lamb's Pride, you'll see red.
I'll hold on. It's not bad sheep either.
No,
This is episode.
It's linked down below. You'll definitely be able to see it. So, I think it just came out. It's really, really beautiful. But here's where we are.
You will see brown sheep.
Brown sheep. Thank you. That's what it's called. Don't you love how I start speaking and not knowing what I'm talking about?
We both do that all the time.
Yeah.
That's why we have the podcast, so that we could remember stuff.
Okay. Hold, please. It's pretty big.
It is, but
All right, so. Oh no! Look how nice. We got the pockets in here. What? This is gonna be the absolute warmest.
So it's actually really funny because when you have it on like that, your
good.
hands in the pockets, it looks great. So
Yeah.
what we're thinking.
So here's what happens with my sleeves. So I mean, it's not awful, right?
Right.
So there were a couple of suggestions that people thought to rip out the sleeve, re-knit it at a smaller gauge, cut out this piece here, and to bring this up a little bit more, right?
Yep.
So that's always an option to do. But so you can see all the extra fabric, the positive ease. But look how I did a good job on the raglans. Look how square that is. I love this shawl collar. I think it's so good. You can even pop it up if you wanted to. So really I think what could happen too is if I bring this up, then my sleeves are at a really good length, right? If I bring this up somehow in here, which Kevin and I were talking today, I could potentially, there is color work underneath.
No, up here.
But so maybe even up here.
So what my thought was, can you, it might be easier to show if you sit down.
Yeah, I'll sit down for sure.
So
I just love looking at it.
So
Isn't it good?
Yeah, no, it came out fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. You're right. Actually, I think the fit is good.
Yeah.
As a jacket, the fit is very good.
It doesn't look bad.
And I don't really mind the sleeves, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. They're definitely I don't know. I kind of like it. So yes.
All right. So I don't know. So my thought was, because the raglan is here.
Yeah.
If we did a mattress stitch and brought just some of it in,
it'll naturally pull up.
Would it pull it up enough?
It didn't really adjust.
To be honest, I think if we did a little mattress stitch somewhere here, let's just say and brought this up, and it doesn't have to be enough. It may create a little pleat. And then to cut the sleeve, I would, if you want, I would do here.
So this is where the extra fabric looks like. So I would probably cut up.
I would go here. I would cut
and
from
then do
here,
some fast decreases.
And I wouldn't even re-knit.
Oh no?
No, I would take out this much and just Kitchener these two sides. And you could decrease. I don't know if you could decrease when you Kitchener.
some, but that's kind of what I would do. I would think do that first.
Yeah.
And then if it still needs a little bit, if you want to bring it up, maybe do a mattress stitch here to pull up. I don't know. I feel like that in my head, I feel like it would work.
Yeah. What's this? Oh, a buttonhole. Oh yeah, that's another thing is I put buttonholes on it. But I did not put buttons. So
you could get buttons at Rhinebeck.
I could. Yeah, maybe I'll get buttons at Rhinebeck. So,
but now that it's on, and you have a heavier weight sweatshirt
did I put the buttonholes on the wrong side? I sure did. Usually the buttons for a men's is on the
left. Right.
Yeah.
Your button is on the right.
Right. No, my holes are on the right. That's okay. Nope. Who cares?
It's fine.
Who gives it?
But yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, but
having the sweatshirt on under it, so a larger.
Yeah, which is what the intention is.
Thing. I actually think it looks.
Me too.
I think it looks fine. I do still agree that some way the sleeve should be decreased a little bit.
Yeah, I think pulling this out would help because there's a lot of fabric here.
Yeah.
I'm not, honestly, guys, I'm really not mad at it at all. Like this is super snuggly. I think it'll be really nice just to like snuggle down.
Yeah, good job.
Clothes is nice too. So maybe it's not as, because like that's a good,
you want
that's some good ease there when it's like when it's closed. If I'm going to button it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are the colors.
Brown.
Shit. I don't remember.
Brown, blue, and beige.
Correct. Okay.
Oatmeal. Glacier ice.
And
Sable.
Yo. Oh, you smell nice.
I don't have any cologne. It's just my natural aroma.
Your natural
aroma.
I'm just not going to say anything. So I feel much better now putting that on. Again, thanks to everybody for...
I will say he was cranky after the last episode. And once it was done, you were cranky pants.
Because like, again, all I had, and you're absolutely, the sweatshirt makes a big difference. Having some clothes underneath, not that I didn't have clothes on, but
winter
I had
clothes.
A t-shirt or even a tank top or something like that before when I put it on, because it was still warm. And it just felt like I was drowning in it. But this, I actually think that the fit is really good. It's just those sleeves.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I were to ever do it again, I would go down a size. Yep. I would go down a sleeve size and needle size.
Yes. So here's a very interesting thing. If you watch,
and I would tweak some of the decreases.
If you watch the latest episode of the Knitting Posse, Kate talked about it. Kate used some numbers from so there's two different versions.
Remind me to talk about what size I did.
There's the Gambier, which is a pattern geared towards the shape of a woman's body. And then Sean's Gambier for broader shoulders. Same yarn used in both, but different gauges and different needle sizes, which is a little bit odd to me. Yeah. And maybe it's just to allow the same, I guess, all right, now that I'm thinking about it, it's to allow probably for the same numbers to be used, but to get a larger size. Now that I think about it. So that maybe now that I said that, it makes a little sense. But we did find it weird at first that there were two patterns, same construction, basically using the same yarn, but two different gauges and different needle sizes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So, the size that I ended up doing was the second size, 46-inch chest. My chest circumference is anywhere from 40 to 42, depending on the day. So I thought that would give me some good positive ease there. But I'm looking at the schematics, and quite honestly, the sleeve length is only a 1/2 inch difference between the 41, the first size in the pattern, and the size that I knit. It's only a 1/2 inch difference. So I think I would go down a needle size as well as, a pattern size. Because the schematic, there's not a lot of difference. There's only, literally from the 46 for the 41 to the 46, size 1 to size 2, there's a 1/2 inch difference on every measurement, which is really interesting to me.
And I just compared the two patterns. So on the Gambier, it's the same needle size, same yarn, and the gauge is 13 stitches and 19 rows over 4 inches.
What's the same needle size?
Same needle size, same yarn.
How is that possible?
And then on the Sean's Gambier, it's 11.5 stitches and 15 rows over.
Did they use the same yarn?
Same exact yarn and same needle size. So that's kind of weird when you think about it. Like that they, on the other version, it was a much tighter gauge. So just something to think about.
I think that, I honestly think it's a great pattern. It's probably one of my favorites looks. I think it looks very classic.
It's a beautiful jacket.
And
beautiful. I think that's the other thing is that you have to remember it's a jacket and not a sweater.
Correct.
It's a jacket. So it's meant to be larger, but I do agree we certainly can make some changes to the sleeves. Yeah. Okay.
So that's that. That was a huge one to have finished. I'm really, really glad it's done, and I'm actually very excited to wear it with our friends, take a picture.
Hopefully you'll be cool enough to do so.
Yeah. If not, we'll still have to take a picture.
Yes.
But I may not be wearing it like during our shenanigans at Rhinebeck if it's not cold enough.
All right. My last FO is also a spin. This is my second spin. And I will say I'm quite impressed with this.
I am.
And too. The improvement that I made. And part of that improvement before I show is that I just went and watched a bunch of YouTube videos on drafting.
You guys hear Skylar?
He's going crazy.
He's going
ham
right now.
Before we show that, let's do a quick Skylar story. So Skylar, when we got his cage, it came with a bell. I actually have a picture of it.
It's so stupid.
The type of bell. No, seriously. You wouldn't have thought this. Let's see the bell.
Skylar is our parakeet, for those of you who do not know. He is fully flighted, and he has full reign of the house, although he only stays in the living room, basically.
Yeah. So he had one of these bells. It came with his cage. And he loved this bell. But it started because he plays with it so much, I don't know if the paint started coming off, it just started getting rusted, whatever the case was. So we got rid of it and we put in a new type of bell, two different ones we tried. He hated them. He did not go near it. He wouldn't even stay on the perch that it was next to. So I ordered a new one set from Amazon. It took 3 weeks to get here. And he went over to it within maybe 3 or 4 minutes of me putting it in the cage and played with that bell for about 15 minutes straight, just whistling, singing, and went back to the bell. It was very interesting because I didn't expect that type of reaction from a bird. Tarquin had his favorite toy. So I had never anticipated something like that happening.
So this is Skylar. I tried to get him. He knows when he's being recorded. Oh, did you hear him say what you doing? He talks. And then he loves, hold on, let's see if you can hear it. Did you guys hear it? Anyway.
All right. So back to
But
spin.
he loves our phone. Anyway, that's Skylar. Yes, go.
So I spun this yarn from Dirty Girl Yarns. I don't know where I got it. It is 4 ounces and it is Rambouillet. This was beautiful to spin. And here is the final product.
Kev, it's really so good. And it's so you.
I did a
fractal spin.
Ooh, look at you.
So I split the braid in half, and then the other half, I did mess up, and I was supposed to split it into 8 pieces, but I only got 7 out of it. So let's undo this. So I think this is about a
wow, it looks so good.
DK. Just so that they can see. So here we go. It's just blues and grays. And it is...
Honestly, like, you did so good.
Where's the other one? Compared to this.
Undo it?
Like, there's definitely some spots, like this one, where I clearly didn't spin part of that as evenly. But I don't think there's any extra, like, twist or energy in it.
What a difference, though. You can definitely see the nylon threads.
Yes.
What was the percentage of nylon in here?
30% nylon.
Wow.
So...
This is soft, though.
I think it's DK. So this I got...
It smells woolly.
250 yards.
Oops. Sorry.
250 yards for this.
Yeah, that's about DK. Right? DK is like 230. No, that's... Worst is about 220.
Do I have a skein of DK somewhere?
Ish.
Is this DK? Yeah. No, that's sport. I don't know. Oh, I'm such a schmuck.
Did you bring up any of your own DK?
No. Oh, wait, here. All right, so this is...
Oh my god, I'm like, what's this metal in here?
Oh, your ring.
My ring came off.
So yeah, it should be about DK, because my DK, which is 75-25, is 245 yards.
Oh, so it's about, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I got a DK weight out of this. So I just really, I took my time. I went and I kept, I do a short forward draw, and I kept doing a ply back just to make sure I had enough twist in it. I'm going to start using the card that came with it just to make sure. I think that my twist is at like 20 degrees. I think that's a good one. I don't know.
Whatever that means.
But yeah, I'm super, super happy with this. I think it came out really well. And I love the colors in it. I'm a blue-gray dude, so right up my alley.
It's absolutely amazing. I came home from work and Kevin like held it up. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. Not that I couldn't believe that you did that, but like what a difference.
Yeah,
like, you're making a lot of progress already. And I think that even this looks fun.
Yeah, it's fun, but it was, I just went. I just wanted to get a feel for spinning again, because I don't know if I mentioned this. I took a spinning class at Knit New Haven probably 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I have a double treadle wheel. I tried to spin on it, and I just didn't have the right chair. I was getting a lot of back pain doing it. So I just kind of stopped. And when we were at Rhinebeck 2 years ago, I was like, I really want to spin. I did enjoy it. So I picked up some fiber, never did anything with it. And then when we were at New England Fiber Festival and the Dreaming Robots was there and I got to try the electric eel, I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
Sold.
And I had heard other people talk about e-spinners in the past. So I walked away with it, spun a little bit, but it was just taking up space downstairs, and I moved it up here and I just didn't touch it. So definitely having it downstairs and it being really portable has made a huge difference. And I've just been making the effort, because now that I've done these two, I was just like, oh, this is fantastic. Let me just spend, even if it's a half an hour, just a half an hour getting some spinning in. So that's the end of my FOs.
Great. I have one more.
Okay.
And this is a new cast on that you haven't seen unless you were at Skane for our trunk show. I wanted to see what the new base was, the 8515, our Athena base. Something to knit up so that we would have a sample, so that some of the people who were buying the yarn can kind of feel what it's like, because it is the softest yarn.
It's a beautiful base.
It's beautiful. So decided on a pattern.
Nope, that's not.
Yeah, I know. Called Venti by Anthony Casalina. It is a 2-color fingering weight shawl. It's got some really cool details, a lot of different types of stitches and sections, really, really colorful and bold. So Kevin had 2 colors that were pretty new.
No, they were new.
Yeah.
I just brought them to
last time I said that, I didn't know what I was talking about.
Correct, you did not.
So anyway, wanted to try it on the new base, and it was a work in progress, but I left it on the table so that people can feel what the sample was. Anywho, I finished this just a few days ago, I think. Oh, I think it's so good. It's pretty large. So this is the Venti shawl. This is the wrong side that I'm showing. Here we are. Oh, there we are. It is, I just pulled it off the blocking mat, so that's woven in, I just have to snip it. It's got some really cool stripes and some solid knits. It's got these really neat, twisted drop stitches. He calls them chainmail stitches. So there's 3 rows of that in this shawl, which is super cool. You have vertical stripes, like vertical columns here where you're slipping stitches, which is really neat. You've got the stripes, and then you have a nice big section of one of the colors. So the colors here are, this is called Monet's Garden.
Oh, I'll grab.
Yeah, that'd be great. And the green, the tonal, is called Pucker Up. So they complement each other very, very well. This is a lower contrast combination. This is more complementary of them. So the shawl is just, it's so soft. And I love a crescent shape shawl. I think they're very, for me anyway, they're very easy to just throw on and wear. I think that they're, it's super cool, like, to throw it on. I love how you can have the, all the different sections. It brings a lot of interest, I think, to this pattern. So I knit this on the recommended needles. Now, I'm a looser knitter, in which I think I've loosened up a lot more over my my years. So this is knit on a US 6 or a 4mm needle. I never gauge swatch for a shawl ever.
No.
But I did play a lot of yarn chicken on this one, and I did have to make some modifications because of that. So it calls for about 430, actually, color A, which was Pucker Up. So again, this is on our Athena base, 85% superwash extra fine merino, 15% nylon. It is a 4-ply. You get about 437 yards per 100 gram skein. If you were to order these, along with any of the other yarns that we have, you'll notice these skeins are a lot shorter and plumper. When we get the skeins in, it's a little bit of a shorter skein. So again, Pucker Up is color A. Color B is Monet's Garden, which has some of that green in there as well. Really pretty. This is gorgeous.
I know, and this was a mistake.
Yeah, well, now it's a keep it permanent.
And thank you, Carrie, because Carrie named this.
Yeah. So, anyway, for the pattern says you will need about 343 yards of color A and about 370 yards of color B. So I ran out of yarn. I ran out of both yarns. And I think it was definitely my my gauge. I will say, if you are a looser knitter and you're looking to make this pattern, pay attention to your gauge a little bit, or be prepared to just take out some of the sections. Like, I had no, I mean, you can't tell, but I ended up at the very end of the shawl. There were supposed to be, I think, two more stripes with the Monet's Garden here, which I had to omit because I literally ran out of yarn. And then mid-row, I just picked back up again the green. You really can't tell where I did that. I don't even know where I did that, to be honest. Oh, maybe like right there.
No, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, and then I ran out of Monet's Garden. The Pucker Up. About I had to do another 2 rows.
Well, you only had this much left
because I didn't have enough, so I just pulled that off.
Right.
That was not enough. Yeah, that wasn't enough to do my bind off. So luckily, Kevin had a test skein, like a mini skein of this colorway. So it's a little darker.
It's actually, so this is a really good, it's brighter because it's a different base too. This is an 80/20 and it's only a 2-ply. So it changes just slightly.
But we had about 20 grams of this, right?
Just under
20 grams.
Yeah.
So I opted for, my modifications were just to decrease a couple of rows down the bottom, which you can't even tell. The shawl is huge already as it is, but I think it's really cool. And the pattern calls for you to do Jenny's stretchy bind off or any other type of stretchy bind off that you like to do. I thought an I-cord bind off would look really cool in this shawl because I thought it would frame it really nicely, and it does. So you can see slight difference in color, but not really. Right? Where I bound it off. So again, I think with this shawl, you are going to be using all of the yarn that you have, if not a little bit more. So just be a little bit conscious of that. And it's okay to omit things if you need to. He even says in the pattern, like, feel free to make it shorter or longer, take some things out, take some sections out, whatever. But it was very smart the way that it was written, and you're always doing something. So you've got short rows, you've got some slip stitches. These drop stitches were really, really cool. Striping. There's always something for you to do to keep your interest. But I just think it's just so incredibly soft. And I think this would look stunning in a very high contrast,
kind of like how
colors,
he shows,
like how he has his. And again, I opted for the lower contrast version, but this is his again. There's definitely a huge difference. There, very visual.
I bought a bunch of his patterns. Like I have several, and
Such a great pattern. Look at
I've never made any of them.
You can see the drop stitches there.
Yeah. It's a pretty shawl.
It is. I would definitely do another one. 100% would do another one. Maybe in a higher, like I said, a higher contrast. But I'm really proud of this. This is going to be one of our samples now. I just can't stop looking at it. It's just so interesting to me.
I know. I'm actually, just to make sure it can be a sample, I need to try to dye Monet's Garden again.
You better get it right.
Remember,
have some left over?
Yeah, we still have some. It's just, so I keep my dye recipes in a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I think this particular page was, what's the word? Corrupted, because the maths on it's not mathing anymore correctly. Because I used, so if you guys remember, back in December, I dyed up a colorway called Skein Scoop for Justine and Lori for Christmas. And I was going to try to dye it for the trunk show. So I went back to that recipe. And then this is what came out instead. And this was not Skein Scoop. So the numbers are off somehow. So I have to go back and luckily I do it in Google Sheets and you can go back to see all your previous versions. So I have to separate this one out from a version back in December and see what happened with the math. All right. So
that was that. Again, Venti Shawl. And we'll have that link down below.
So that's all of our FOs. So we're going to move on to
FOs.
whips. I have 1, 2, 3.
Jeez.
Wait, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3. Why did I think I had 4? I don't know. I think I have 3.
All right, you can kick us off. I only have 2.
Okay, so I'm going to just go on with spinning. So I have a whip. For spinning, I am spinning some fiber that I got from Shirty Cat Designs at Connecticut Sheep and Wool this year. This is 100% Polwarth. And I don't think it has a color name. It's just called Paul 23114. So I wonder if she died at November 4th, 23. But it is some blues and browns and oranges and grays. So I am doing another fractal spin. So this is the first half of the braid done. And again, I'm using my electric eel 6. And so speaking of that, I'm thinking, guys, that I might pick up a dataless starling at Rhinebeck this year. So if you have any experience with it, please feel free to comment down below because it's probably going to happen. So I don't know for sure, though. So I would definitely like some info if you have any experience using one.
Yeah, we were talking about, you always looked at dataless.
So dataless was because it was the first e-spinner I had heard of. You know who uses them quite a bit is the Knit Girls.
Yeah, Laura.
Laura?
No. Yeah,
Laura. Maybe. I don't remember.
I think it was Laura.
I think both of them have it.
Oh, okay.
So when they spin, I know that they do have dataless. I think they have all of them. But one that I heard often, I think, was Starling. So when we went to Rhinebeck, probably the past 2 years, I've stopped at the booth and I thought about getting one. And I was like, look, I don't spin enough to do that.
Well, now you do.
Now I do.
That's a big step, though.
And I think now that I have plans of grandeur, obviously. I'm already thinking I'm going to spin yarn to do my Spice cardigan. Because I want to do Spice cardigan. And I was like, man, it's knit with spin cycle. I could do a Zauber ball or blah, 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 blah. But then I've been watching videos on making gradients. I was like, oh, what if I do a gradient, spin a gradient, and then I could use my own hand spun for...
So maybe you need 2 dataless machines.
Don't get ahead of yourself. Well, and then this one, I know it was jokingly, but he's like, oh, I wonder if I'd like spinning. He's like, well, if I do, then you definitely are going to need another wheel. And I was like, okay, done. Rhinebeck.
You also have the double treadle wheel that you have downstairs. I wonder...
I need to do some maintenance on. And that's one of the big differences actually between a double or a real wheel, like a treadle wheel, and an e-spinner is that these take way less maintenance. You have to oil them and the treadles and stuff like that. And because I haven't used it, I just don't know what I need to do to get it up and running again.
Sure.
And I don't have to worry about my feet. And I think I believe if you want to try spinning, I would totally recommend going with the electric eel. Whether it's the Nano or the 6.0, well, now it's a 6.1. They've made some modifications to it, which I think are good modifications. Because it takes one whole aspect out of it where you don't have to focus on your feet. Because that's what controls the speed and stuff. So this is a really good way, I think, to get into spinning.
Yeah.
To get you comfortable with just drafting. Drafting, I feel like drafting is the
the toughest part is getting a good flow of that. So I do think that a e-spinner is a really good way to get into spinning. But again, I'm thinking about a Starling. If you have any comments about it, please leave it below. So this is my first whip. I started the second half of it. Oh, these are all my quarters. So what I did is I split, again, the braid in half.
A whole different language. Man.
I split the braid in half, and then one half I split into 4, and that is this. I like doing those first because you go through them a little bit quicker. Mm-hmm. So now what I'm doing is I'm doing the other half of the braid. So on that part, like I'm getting longer sections of the colors. So yes, that's my first whip.
Good job.
You could go.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, how many do you have?
2. Did you say you have 4? You said you have 3.
I think I have 3.
Okay.
No, I have 4.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so my next one is this.
That color is so good.
So this is in a new bag.
Yeah.
Also, this bag is a Hide and Hammer. I think it's a number 3 in the color Sage. And they released this color about a year ago, and I wanted it immediately. And I just kept putting it off and putting it off. And recently they had made a post a couple weeks ago that they had 2 left. And I said, I'm going to get it. So I did. This is what I brought with us to Skein to knit on, and I have yet to finish it. I meant to finish it this week, but I didn't.
That smells nice. Yeah. Like food. You have food in there?
No, I don't have food in the bag. So I am knitting the Metropolitan Cowl. It was a pattern originally released in Rib Magazine issue 1. Mm-hmm. This magazine's no longer in production. I've made 2 of these in the past. So it is a pattern that has, there's a hat pattern and a cowl pattern. It is DK weight. I am using a US 6 or 4 millimeter needle for this. And here's what the cowl looks like. And I'm using it in a new colorway called Ravenswood.
Did you say the name of it?
Metropolitan Cowl.
Oh. This
is a new colorway called Ravenswood. The name was based on the new discovery of, All Souls book called The Blackbird Oracle. It is a very... So this color is like a taupe. It can lean a little more brown sometimes. It can lean a little gray sometimes. Mm-hmm. This is the skein. There are some gray bits, taupe bits, brown bits. There's some brown speckles in it. This was probably the one of the most popular colors at Skein. I think.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to be using this in a future project.
Spoiler alert, I'm doing a sweater out of this. I'm going to dye up maybe this week. I'm going to dye it up for myself on the 7525 DK, and I'm going to do an autumn leaf pullover in it.
Oh, is that the one with the...
Yes.
I love that detail.
I've wanted that pattern, sweater for a while, and I love this color. So I just wanted to do a sample, and this is a fun, just a slip stitch with carrying the yarn in the front.
It's so cool. It looks like a breeze almost.
Yeah, I remember I've done this.
I think it looks really neat.
It is. It's a fun pattern. And it becomes pretty intuitive. You can read your knits with the slip stitches. So I am just, and you can see you get some, I do feel like we have some shadows today. I think more brown bits here. It could be because I am not bouncing the lights off today, which I think we've done in the past most of the time.
Well, we're an hour 38 minutes in.
We're not changing anything now.
Sorry, folks.
But yeah, this is great. And what's really fun, and we talked about this at the trunk show too, is the 7525 is a really nice base. And when you hold it next to 100% superwash base, you really can't tell the difference. No. I actually have skeins on DK dyed up of It's Fall Y'all on
75/25 and 100% superwash, and I forgot to separate them, and I don't know which one's which. So I've just been holding on to them, trying to figure out what to do.
Sell them as mysteries.
So, yeah, so this is Ravenswood. I know I currently have... I know I have some on DK. I only have one skein on the 8515, but I just dyed up 20 skeins and they're drying, so they'll be up in the shop next week.
Not all of them.
You're taking...
I'm taking 2.
2.
I think.
I don't remember which...
No, I'm taking I'm taking 1.
So, yes. So, Metropolitan Cal, and I believe you can get this on Ravelry now, and it is by Mina Phillip, who is the knitting expat.
Yeah.
Who I just saw is teaching classes at Vogue Knitting Live this year in New York. Yeah.
We're still on the fence about if we're going to be taking classes. We are going to Vogue this year.
Next year.
Next year, technically.
But yeah.
Oh, you dropped stitches. Was that my fault?
No, I just... Actually, I'm going to put my stitch stoppers on them now. This is a recent purchase of mine. Some stitch stoppers. Little donuts. Because they're cute.
Mm-hmm. And these are from Fox and Pine. We'll have them linked down below.
Yeah, we love Fox and Pine stitch markers.
We do love them.
All right. So, that...
They don't just have stitch markers, though. They have other things.
Oh, yeah, we showed there's the holders.
Stoppers, I mean.
The
zip pocket
the
things.
zip pouch, and then the one that...
so good.
The flip one, the magnetic one.
Yeah.
And ornaments. Remember they did ornaments last year?
Yes. You know what's so funny is like our Christmas stuff, like we keep in when we put everything away, we got it in like the bins, the Rubbermaid bins and stuff. So if we get anything after all of that's packed away, I keep them here in the hall closet. And so sometimes going in there, like I see all these Christmas ornaments just like piled up there. So I can't wait to put them on the tree. Cool story, bro, huh?
Cool.
All
right, you're up.
All right. The next thing you have seen this, I didn't really add much more to it, but I did want to talk about it because I had a question was emailed to me, and I did make some progress. So this is also Needles at the Ready yarn. This was going to be a sample in the colorway Meadow. What the heck's it called? Violet Meadow. This is just a pair of vanilla socks that I'm knitting, but I did the heel, so I just kind of wanted to talk about that because I get some questions sometimes when I'm knitting on 9-inch circulars, which these are, how do I do my heels and what are some of my favorite heels to work with 9-inch circulars? Basically, the answer to that question is any heel will work on 9-inch circular. It just depends on how you want to do it. So, for example, this is a shadow wrap heel, and I used the instructions from our friend Denise, our Earth Tones girl. She has a really great pattern and YouTube tutorials to go along with that.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So... I have no idea what you're doing.
I'm getting prep for my next.
Okay, great. I'm glad.
Whip.
It's important to have prep to it. So with the Shadow Wraps heel, it's a short row heel. I was able to complete the full heel on 9-inch circular needles. I find that sometimes, especially when you're building stitches, in, for example, a heel flap and gusset, I find it quite difficult for me to stay on 9-inch circulars. So in that case, I'll switch to DPNs, keep the front half of the sock on the 9-inch circulars, and then put the heel on the DPN so that you can work back and forth and build up the stitches if you want to, and then use the 9-inch circulars if you want to pick the stitches up the gusset. You know, when you're picking up those stitches to start your decreases, then you can go in the round. Your stitches will be tight together, but it's definitely doable. Or you can just use Magic Loop, which is my preferred method for a heel flap and gusset, is Magic Loop. So if you all had questions like that, and like I said, I did email back the question, but I do get questions sometimes about 9-inch circulars and how you put in your heel, what I do for my heel and what you can do. So again, this is a sample. So this is 64 stitches. I did a 2x2 rib. And I knit down to, I think it was about 6.5 inches, maybe 7 inches. And then I put my heel in. Again, it was a shadow wrap short row heel. You could also use a Fish Lips Kiss. I find them very similar. But it's not often that I stay on the 9-inch circulars to do my heel, but I wanted to try it on this one, and I did. And, I think it came out really, really good. I sometimes struggle purling on 9-inch circulars when you're flipping your work, especially in the beginning. It's just a little bit awkward, but totally doable. So that's really the only reason why I wanted to talk about this sock. Plus, like I said, I just added the heel in. So if you do have questions, feel free to email or send us a message. We will get back to you. It just sometimes might take us a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So that's that. So again, Violet Meadow. This is actually on a discontinued base.
Well, we still have it.
We still have some, yes.
And I still have some here, so stuff can get dyed on it. It's something I'm not going to carry once I'm done with all of it.
With your stock. So this is the Achilles sock base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon.
Correct.
Did I say everything?
Yep.
I wanted to say?
I don't know.
Hope so. US ones, 2.25 millimeter needles.
Okay. So next up is a new cast on, also a new purchase. This is some yarn that we got from Knit New Haven last weekend. So our niece, Riley, her second birthday is soon, but her party is in 2 weeks.
Her birthday is October 4th, but her party is...
on the 11th or so. Yeah. 12th. 11th. So I know that I wanted to make her a sweater. And I had an idea in my mind. So a couple of weeks ago, I watched an episode of the Chronicles of Yarnia podcast. And
they need to get out that way soon.
I know. And Amanda had knit a sweater with a white or a beige yarn, holding it together with this Tama by something fiber.
Is that what you just looked up?
No.
Oh.
So it has these little pom-poms on it. And it was adorable. So when we went to Knit New Haven, I saw this. I was like, oh, let me get it for Riley because I wanted to knit her sweater using this. And I know that I could have used the one right there that Ray bought a while ago to make a hat with.
I got a cone with it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, you're supposed to make a hat.
So, yeah.
With that
This
cone.
actually might be smart to talk about.
It is. So, I got this to go with this yarn. This is from Manos del Uruguay. Feliz is the base, I think. And I don't know that there's a colorway.
Rosa.
That's the artisan.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
It kind of looks rose colored.
So this is 70% merino superwash, 30% modal. And it's approximately 350 yards. It's a sport weight. And so I had an idea for a cardigan using sport weight. And what I did is I started knitting with this and this. I did not like seeing the white string held with this. So now it makes sense why Amanda did like a white or an off-white with this so that you didn't see it. So I took this out and I cast on the Isla cardigan. It is by Gudrun Johnson. It looks like the Shetland Trader. So here is, can you imagine if that went in my tea? So this is the cardigan.
You're so refined drinking tea.
So this tea that I'm drinking, somebody sent us the Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, a while ago.
Just like a month ago or 2 months ago. It is delicious. But so here's I didn't even realize when I bought that, but look at how close it is in color to that picture. I just think it's a really, really cool construction.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So I'm being really ambitious. I don't know if I'm going to get it done.
I'm going to really try to, but I am knitting the, where are my notes? I'm knitting the 4th size. So here's what was tricky for me. It says that the first 5 are children's sizes ranging approximately from 6 months to 10 years, but it doesn't tell you what size corresponds with age. So what I did is I went to Tin Can Knits. I went to the Strange Brew book, because that is kind of like a build your own sweater book.
Yeah.
To see what their chest circumference recommendation was for a 2 to 3 year old. Then I took that recommendation and I went to this pattern and found some with some positive ease.
Yes.
And that's how I got to choose the 3rd size, and that is a 25-inch chest circumference. So I figured that should get Riley a year or more wear out of this sweater, especially since it's only 3 buttons right here. So that's how I came up with that size, and I'm knitting it on the, even though I know I'm a tight knitter, I'm knitting it on the recommended needle size, which I think is a 4 and a 5. Let's double check. No, just 5. So a US 5, or that is a, what millimeters? 3.75 millimeter, I think. And here's where I'm at. I did the ribbing.
It's such a great color.
And then I do love the little faux seam here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful sweater. The color's
really
going to
is.
look fantastic on Riley. I'll need to get some buttons for it. And this was only like 1 day of knitting too. It actually went pretty quickly.
So you certainly will be able to get that finished.
I can, but I have to finish my Sean's Gambier first. Or I have to go back and forth. I have to put some time into that one.
Sure.
But yeah, that's my next whip.
Awesome.
I can't say much more about it. I don't have much. But it is a really good point that the reason these two go together so well is you're not going to see this white string with that yarn. So I'm going to have to maybe use this with this, and it could be a hat for like Riley or for Reese.
Great idea.
For Christmas.
You don't want to use this one?
Yeah. We could do the same hat, and one of them could get this color in it, and the other
I
could
only
get that
have
color.
one of these though.
But we could probably either get more, or I have undyed DK that we could just use.
It's a bulky.
Yeah, but we could do a different hat
Yeah, no,
pattern, but with DK, and hold it undyed with this.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Or like even with Ghost, because Ghost.
That's a
is
cute
like
idea to get them matching hats. Maybe for Christmas. Whatever. I'm getting hungry and tired.
Would you mind putting these two up there together?
I wouldn't mind that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
So right.
And then you're up.
Okay, so my last whip has been my primary focus after I finished everything that I've finished. I went back to the Guiding Light shawl. You have seen this before. I started this pattern when we had come back from Seattle. That week we came back from Seattle.
Yep.
I was very much inspired and wanted to use Erin's yarn from Fiber Hustle, and saw this really cool garter shawl. It's called A Guiding Light. It's by Kayla. She goes by Kayla? No?
Oh no, we were watching a recent episode and
and I'm like,
and she said her name differently.
This is the Crazy Sock Lady. We love her. Really cool, easy garter stitch shawl. Gives each of the colors. So it's 2 colors, 2 skeins of each color. So it's DK weight, very large shawl. It gives each color a chance to shine, which I think is really great. I am on the last section. Matter of fact, I only have 3 more rows to do, I believe, and then I can cast this bad boy off. So depending on what the rest of our day looks like, should be able to have this finished this weekend. If you can take that side. So here is...
This is the wrong side.
That's the wrong side. If you can take then this side. Just thanks. All right. So this is the end. This is what I have. So I have like 2 more stripes to do and then bind off. So you have these great striped patterns, swaths of solid knitting, like color blocking. Then you have more stripes and eyelet sections, which are really cool. Gives each of the...
Is this where you were last time?
So this is where I was last time.
Nice.
Here. So I knit from here. I knit all of that since the last time I showed it. It's a humongous...
Yeah, this is large.
Humongous shawl, which I am so in love with. I love these colors together. So again, this is Fiber Hustle. Here we are. The like fiery,
the
golden color is called August and Everything After. It's both of the yarns are DK 4-ply, 100% superwash BFL. So you get about 246 yards per 100 grams. I am on my second skein of each yarn. I have this left so far of this color. So I'm hoping that I can get one more stripe and then a bind off. Not quite sure. I might bind off with the other color if I don't have enough.
I think you're going to have to bind off with the other.
Yeah, I think so. It's like 160 stitches.
You might be okay. Is it I-cord?
No, I think it's just... No, you're just binding off knitwise loosely.
Then I think you might be all right.
Yeah.
If it was I-cord, I would question it, but...
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll stop there. And then this is called the Abyss. I've got plenty of this.
Oh, yeah, you have a ton of that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll add another...
No. You'll be able to use that in your blanket.
Oh, great idea. Yeah, my DK blanket. Perfect idea. Did I say the Abyss? Yes, it's the Abyss. So again, this is Fiber Hustle. And I love it. 100% BFL. It's actually like really squishy. I love my little avocados. That's another I have these stitch stoppers literally everywhere and I need more. So oh, and my progress keeper is from 2 years ago. I met Fiber Hustle behind the barn. I thought that was fun. So yeah, here's the here's this giant shawl. Oh, I love it. Doesn't it look cool?
I love a DK weight shawl.
Same.
I want to knit one. I want to knit.
I feel like this is only my second one that I have.
I want to do another Paris de Jours.
Yeah.
Because I love that shawl.
Me too. Okay, so I am knitting this in the recommended needles. Did I say already? It's a 7. Wow. A US 7? Is that true? Yeah, I guess that's true.
You know what? I'll actually mention it when I get to my next project.
Anything else I can tell you about that? It's been absolutely great to knit with. Yeah, US 7 4.5 millimeter circular needles. I'm knitting this on my Chowgu Forte set, which I love, on the
swivel cords.
I'm gonna say spinning cords. Some people have given me some feedback saying that they find it to catch the yarn a little bit or to not be as smooth. I haven't had that experience personally, but I'll keep my eye out for that for sure.
It's funny because that's what I was going to mention. So when we read comments, we both do them all at the same time. Like we'll sit down on a Sunday and say, okay, you work from the top, I'll work from the bottom. And when I saw comments about that, the comment that came up the most is that people found it difficult when they were using a finer weight yarn like a fingering. And it really got me thinking that that's the same experience that I have with the needles that I'm using in my next project.
So
can I just, before you go, this is living in my new bag that I would like to show, or should I show it after?
No, go ahead.
I got this beauty from Skein. It is a beautiful bucket, but with a squared bottom. It's like woven fabric. It's a Tenty is the brand, made in the US. It is a humongous basket. The inside is a very thick, I don't even know what the material is. There's 2 different types of materials in there. It's got pockets literally all the way around in the bag. It sits, the stitching, the attention to detail in this is absolutely outstanding. I don't know if you can see, like, even inside here where the pockets are.
Well, it's meant to be rolled down
thick.
too. You can roll it down like this.
Oh.
So that it's a bucket, I
I
believe.
haven't done that, but you certainly can, yeah.
And this is called the Hope Basket.
Hope Basket.
Which
isn't that just stunning?
they had another fabric there that I'm obsessed with, and I'm hoping that they were able to order a Hope Basket for me.
I don't know if you actually asked.
I did. Justine wrote it down.
But there's a label on the inside. You got 3 pockets on one side, 3 pockets. Oh no, actually, this whole side is all pockets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pockets in here. Some of them are smaller. You can put your needles and stuff in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm super excited about this.
So, because this is going to be really long, I'm sorry, guys. We haven't done a 2-hour episode.
No, but we have lots to say.
All right. So my last,
Can I have some of this?
yeah, my last whip is living in my Tanny Casey bag that I got at Maryland Sheep and Wool last year.
That's a good bag too.
So
we're gonna see Tanny Casey.
Yeah, she's vending at something that we're going to at Rhinebeck. So this is my cozy comfort blanket.
Comfy cozy.
It's good.
That's honey.
Yes, it is honey. That would be under miscellaneous. It is. Did I not put this in my good notes?
Surprise, surprise. You're not organized.
It may have gone someplace else in one of the other things. I don't know what it is. Let's see. I think it's called Cozy Comfort Blanket. So, I wanted to copy Justine after seeing
She's
hers.
perfect in every way.
So, I kind of made a fade with just a bunch of minis that we had or have. And this is where I was going with it. Right, so well, my blues, my greens, my reds, yellows, some pinks and beiges, browns over here. But I started with like...
Wait, let's hold that up because you didn't take a lot of time.
Well,
I'll hold it up for you. I'm happy.
Hold on, it's just on yarn.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is... I'm going this way. So that's where I'm at, or what's coming up. But I started with like an undyed down here with some beige and gray speckles. Then I moved into just beige. Then a taupe. Then a gray with some purple. And then you can't really see, I feel like you can't see it. And then this gray, a little bit deeper with a bunch of purple. And I'm holding it with an undyed skein of fingering weight yarn. It is knit on some Addy Clicks, a US 7, right? Yeah, US 7. I cast on something like 142-ish stitches, and I did an I-cord cast on, so I just did a huge I-cord chain, picked up stitches, started knitting in garter, and it's so squishy. And then I do an I-cord on either end. And what I've been doing is just doing a magic knot once I get close to running out of the color. And that's because I was like in the middle of a row. And I was like, I started taking it back. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to do a magic knot. So, you know, because I have 3 blankets on the needles and I couldn't decide which one to
knit on, and I'm in the middle of the row. But this is kind of...
And you don't have stitch stoppers on the end of your needles. It makes me so anxious.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like so far. I feel like I could have done this beginning part a little bit better with the fade, but I like it. I think it's going to be really
I like it too.
Squishy and comfy. And it actually is a quick knit. When I picked this up, I was here, and then I knit this in one night. I went through three mini skeins in a night. And and then I'm just going to go through the rest and see what happens. I do love this kind of, I think this will be fun.
Yeah. It's great.
I'm probably going to end up using, I would say at a minimum, I'm 5 of these, 5 undyed skeins.
Unreal, yeah.
But you could do, if you have a bunch of minis, you could just hold I think Maddie's doing one like that where she just made huge magic knot balls and are just holding those double to get the DK weight. So that is all everything that we've been working on.
Yes.
And to be honest, no, it's not everything that we bought. So let's jump in.
No, almost though.
We're going to jump into some needles at the ready yarn
to
go along with
2 different things.
I didn't pull it for the other thing.
Yeah, but they would work either way. No?
I don't know, because I wasn't thinking about that. So my first thing is, over the next week to 2 weeks, I'm going to be putting a lot of one-of-a-kinds or skeins that aren't quite right. And here's a really good example. So this is Old Fashioned Teddy, and I was getting ready to skein it up last night, and I'll actually show you the picture. There's a part of it that doesn't have some...
This?
That's a little more undyed. Yeah, not even that. So I actually made this the feature picture on the website. So here.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some white in there. So I have the one skein of it. So I listed it on the website for $18 instead of the normal price of $28. So
$10 off?
Yeah. I did throw some one-of-a-kinds. Which
it's a beautiful color.
It's a nice brown.
Yeah.
So I did list some of the one-of-a-kinds that have just kind of been hanging out for a while on the sale section. So those are marked down to $23. And then this one, like I said, is there for $18. And then when I was struggling with DKs and getting the tonals right, I was going through some last night and noticed that's what I'm going to do with any skeins that I'm not happy with. I'm going to start putting them up, and it may be like roasted pumpkin, but there's a really maybe dark blotchy spot, and I'm going to list those for 18. So those will be going up periodically over the next week to 2 weeks, because I just didn't know what to do with them, so they've just kind of been sitting. So
yeah, I think that's smart.
If you go to the website and see that, the main picture for that it'll be listed as a single brew, and the main picture will kind of be the inconsistent area of that particular skein. And they'll be listed for $18.
Nice.
All right, so we wanted to show some yarns for you guys if you wanted to use needles at the ready yarn for the Badass Brioche Mal. So I grabbed some stuff for some ideas. So here's a nice one. This is Fire Pit and Roasted Pumpkin. You could also do Roasted Pumpkin with Tiger's Eye.
Yeah, that would be really pretty.
Or Ravenswood with Fire Pit.
Ravenswood is such a beautiful color.
I love Ravenswood.
Did you bring...
I have a ton.
Oh,
which colors would you like me to grab for you?
Because I'm going to do... Oh, yeah. So I think these colors go really awesome together roasted pumpkin and pistachio brittle.
Yeah, I think they're a fun combination.
Really fun combination. So this is one of my favorites. I actually think I'm going to be doing the MCal, Stephen West MCal in these two colors, which is great. Another really, you probably don't have any because...
Which one?
Ghost Water.
Yeah, it's right here. Oh no. Actually, I brought some duplicates of stuff, so I'm trying to move that.
That's
down.
okay.
Yeah, I don't have Ghost Water right there.
No, that's Wedding Mints.
And this is Wedding Mints too?
Yeah.
Here, give me that
one. Ghost is a really great neutral.
And here's what I like Ghost with. One of the things I thought about, Ghost and Wild Orchid.
Beautiful.
I think that would be a really fun combination. Wild Orchid is a very, very bright pink. So you could do those two together. You could do Ghost with just about
anything. So like, you know, if you wanted a more neutral, the red would be really cool with that too. Like a striking contrast.
So you could do Ghost with Wild Orchid.
So this is really pretty. That's really pretty.
You could
soft.
do Ghost with Rustic Brick.
Yeah.
Or you could do Rustic Brick, and this gray is Midnight Mist.
Midnight Mist.
You could also do Midnight Mist and Wild Orchid. I'm going to do Midnight Mist and a color I don't have. I have to dye up this week. It's called Mystique.
These are cool too. Inkblot and Iron Mountain might be kind of cool together.
My MCal colors are going to be Shady Pines and Tiger's Eye. So Tiger's Eye is a really nice gold, but it has some brown and green and orange speckles, and it very lightly speckled. At Skein,
that's
I brought that up to show. I actually thought so at Skein before.
Sorry,
I keep going. Yeah. Is why is her name escaping my head? We just mentioned it earlier.
Annie?
No.
Meg
had a sweater that she knit out of Tiger's Eye, and that's actually what prompted me to dye it again.
Yeah.
And when these two were on the table, I was like, oh, that's going to be a beautiful combo. So this is what my Stephen West MCal is going to be. I just have to dye up Shady Pines on the 8515.
Yeah.
Tiger's Eye just dyed up, and I have to put back in the shop.
This is another beautiful colorway called Twilight. It's a beautiful blue color.
So Twilight
and Ghost go really well together. Twilight and Midnight Mist can go really nice together.
Or Twilight and Snowy River.
Oh, that's
These
really
would be
pretty.
really great together as a combo.
Even rhubarb. What do we put rhubarb with? Remember, we thought rhubarb would go really,
I thought
really
rhubarb
cool.
and pucker up
that's
could be
cool.
fun.
That's really bright, though.
It is, but there's a dark green in here,
Yeah.
so I thought these could be interesting together.
Are you going to do more Sahara Sands?
I may. I don't know that it's been super popular, so I just haven't dyed it in a while.
It's a really nice color.
You could also do rhubarb and pistachio brittle.
What do you think of these two? Ballet Slippers and Sahara Sand.
I personally am not a huge fan of the two of those. That gold. I think you could do Ballet Slipper and Inkblot is fun. The navy and the pink.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The navy goes with a lot of that. Creates a really striking...
You could also do Inkblot and Silver Moonlight would be nice.
So I think there's a lot of options if you're interested in using needles at the Ready Yarn.
This is a one of a kind that I need to try to replicate, but this is called Winter Forest, and this would pair well with Midnight Mist, or there's something else I was thinking earlier today.
What's this? Mossy Cobble?
Mossy Cobble, I think that they would be too similar.
No, I know, but I just think this...
You could do it with Ravenswood as well. Or, I wonder if you could do it with Tiger's Eye. Oh yeah, actually that would look really nice. Tiger's Eye and Winter Forest. And then I also thought Frozen Grasshopper could be good with Pistachio Brittle or Graham Cracker. Oops.
the frozen grasshopper is a really pretty color as well.
This I thought to go with ballet slipper.
It's just a little crush.
And ballet slipper, or it's just a little crush with, is that an eggplant?
Or even Iron Mountain. No. Sorry.
Iron Mountain would be great
I think with Twilight. Yeah.
Or Silver Moonlight. You could do...
How about Twilight?
Mossy Cobblestone and Shady Pines.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for. Where's Twilight?
Right there.
How about this in Mossy Cobble?
I don't know.
Not really. I think
because the green.
Yeah, over here.
So I think that there's...
Yeah, anyway, there's a lot of different...
options. There's a ton of yarn on the website.
Yeah.
So...
Play around. Put a couple of things in your cart and see what they look like.
So you could do wedding mints and Shady Pines.
That's fantastic.
Because these are my MCal from last year.
Yeah.
You could also do wedding mints with... No. Maybe.
Yeah,
Winter Forest.
Of course. Yeah. If you see something on the website and you're like, oh, I wonder how those two yarns will look next to each other, you can always send us a message and we will take a picture of them and, send it to you, see what they look like.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I was wondering, like, you held up these yarns so fast, can you, I'm interested in maybe seeing what Sahara Sand and Wedding Mints would look like. Can you send me a picture of the two of them together? You know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
This, I love rustic brick. It's a great red. Orange.
It's an orange. It's
Orangey
it's an orangey red.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so that's that. And then last is what is some break in the bank.
Okay.
We've showed a lot of it. The only additional purchase I made is actually to make the Eno hat. When I initially bought the pattern, I wanted to make the hat out of the colorway it was shown in the picture, and that is called Hayloft.
You've been looking for this?
From Brooklyn Tweed. And if you follow them, you know that they've had issues like getting some of their colors, like I forget what they're called. The type of colors.
Dye?
But Hayloft I couldn't get for a really long time. Knit New Haven had it when we went on Saturday. So I picked up 2 skeins so I can make the Eno hat in Hayloft. Because this is one of my favorite colors that they make. So that's the purchase I made.
Mm-hmm. While we were at Knit New Haven, I also purchased some stitch stoppers. I thought these were really cute for around Christmas time. They're 2 little Santa hats. Super cute. Again, from Fox and Pine. And then every time we go, I've been drawn to this color and this yarn while we were there. This is called Chocolate Milk. It's from Blue Sky Fibers. It is their sweater worsted base. It's 55% superwash wool and 45% cotton. It feels so soft. And like I said, I've been really into the color. Their dyeing is very, very consistent. So I have, for example, I've been, Knit New Haven has a couple of colors here or there of the, or a couple of skeins of the colorway Chocolate Milk. But here's one from a long time ago that I bought. And here's the one that I just bought. They're like very similar. Like so I finally look,
in person there's no difference.
There's no difference.
Are they the same lot? Just out of curiosity.
Lot number 7G6428. No, 7H0527. They're all different. These two are the same lot.
And these two are
two are different lots. So there's 3 different lots there. I think it's so consistent.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm going to do a very nice like sweatshirty type of sweater with this. I think it'll be very comfortable, and now I finally have a sweaters quantity.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's those. Yeah.
And then
the last thing that we got.
Yeah, that's it.
Is our monthly club from Woolens and Nosh. You may have seen this already. This is the September club colorway. Michelle actually is working on what was it, a cowl or something?
I'm going to pull her up now.
Yeah, she posted how it's knitting up, and it's beautiful. This is the September colorway from their club. It is in their Target fingering weight. It's called Free to a Good Home, One Friendly Rooster. I think this has a lot of fall vibes, for sure. It's very like rustic looking. So I need to.
And this is how it knits up.
So good. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Really
Just
pretty.
skin it up and cast on today.
I have a lot of things to do.
Who cares?
I also have 2 other socks on the needles. I was thinking of making. Let me know what you think about this, because Kevin wasn't really on board. I kind of am. So, for example, what I would like. What am I trying to say?
What Ray is thinking.
Where did we see it?
No, you were thinking of making a blanket out of it.
No, I wasn't.
You said.
No. Yes,
what if I did
sure.
a blanket all out of Woolens and Nosh?
And I said
that would be beautiful, but it would be a disservice to the yarn.
It would not be a disservice to the yarn. I think that it would be, they're not going to all go together, but I think it would be really cool to do, for example, like do this and then put the mini and then do another one and then the mini, you know what I mean? Like separating the colorways.
No, I know what it was.
So cool.
It was the Litmus Cowl.
Litmus Cowl. We were watching, so we were watching Woolen Wishes.
So I was just thinking, if you were to do that, right? I think the best way to do that with a Litmus Cowl is to figure out what your color repeats are for stripes. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say you got, with the first color, 3 stripes. Probably not, because I would assume that cowl is somewhere in the 140 stitch range, based on the image that we saw of it. So thinking that you would knit 64 to 72 stitches of a sock, it would be at least double that. So you would get maybe 2 stripes. So I would do 2 stripes of one color and then 2 stripes of the mini. 2 stripes of the next color, 2 stripes of the mini. And then repeat that with multiple skeins. So this way you're using it all. But then I don't know if the mini would make it all the way through.
Right. I think my question was, basically, I want to use all of the skeins of yarn in a big project.
I think a Litmus Cowl would be a good idea for it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Because Lisa has done multiple ones. I think she's done...
Why not?
She did a Star Wars one.
They're so good. I just want to do something different.
Yeah.
Some of them I want to make socks, so I won't use every one. But... this actually would make good socks. So this might not be a good example, but some of the other ones that still would make good socks, but I would feel like that would look nice in a blanket or a cowl or something.
You could also start it and use 10 grams to start that section, like a huge color block with the mini, use half of it, then do the rest of it with the full skein, and then end it.
Oh, so it frames it almost.
Right, end it with the mini, and then you would start your next skein, 10 grams with a mini, and the full skein, and do it that way.
As the Litmus or a blanket? I want
Litmus.
Make a blanket.
Litmus.
What if I crochet a blanket?
Litmus.
All right, I'm going to do the Litmus cowl with some Woolens and Nosh yarns. I'm going to just pull some and see which ones
work together. Where the minis work together. That's what... Because if you do, let's say you did this one and you had a mini that was a gray. Then you would, at the end of this section...
So maybe the main skein doesn't necessarily have to...
the minis would need to kind of
fun.
play with each other nicely.
Ooh, I'm excited. Okay, let's make that happen.
All right, so
that's all of our acquisitions and breaking the bank, and that's it.
And I'm thinking, so we don't go over 2.5 hours, we're going to skip what we've been reading and watching. Although, let's just talk about watching real quick, what we're enjoying at this current moment in time.
What's in your cup?
Nothing. It's empty.
No, I mean,
I know. We're currently watching The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. We're on season 1, and we have 2 episodes left, and we are enjoying it
very much so.
A bit.
I have no idea who this actor is, but I really like him.
I know. I'm excited to go finish it today.
Yeah, same. We have to cut the grass. I want pizza. Oh,
I knew you were going to say that.
I know.
Then you want pizza, go order it.
For myself?
No, I'll have pizza.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's it, everybody.
It just makes sense because tomorrow we're not going to eat well.
I know.
We'll have leftovers.
I know. So I believe that is everything. Apologize. No, I don't apologize.
No, there's
for the
no
length.
apologies.
We needed to catch up.
And I am very excited to have her sit down.
I'm done with you. So I think that's everything. Again, if you guys have any feedback on the Daedalus e-spinners, please leave a comment below, because I really am considering getting one when we're at Rhinebeck, since they will be there. And
are they going to let you try them, you think? Do they have them?
I think so. And the reason I'm thinking about doing it at Rhinebeck is because from what I've seen, typically a wait can be quite a while for them. So it just makes sense kind of do it when they're available, especially if there's a color that I see that I like. So yeah, if you guys have any feedback on them, please leave those comments below. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say one more time about the badass brioche mal. If you're looking to get yarn, just a reminder, it's 1 skein of each color. You only need 1 of each.
Yep.
And then use that hashtag badass brioche mal.
Okay. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. We hope that you guys have a great 2 weeks, and we will see you in a fortnight.
Bye.
Bye.